A very good morning to everyone. I wish to welcome you here today to participate in our FDP program. I'm so happy to see you together in this online FDP. I hope the program will be great and successful. I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of management staff, Principal Dr. K. Satyanarayana sir, IQAC Coordinator Dr. Hemalata ma'am, Computer Science HOD Mrs. T. Sujata ma'am, all the HODs and computer science staff members of SINDHI College. I extend my warm welcome to our resource person, Dr. V. Jayalakshmi Madam, Professor, Department of Computer Application, Wales Institute of Science, Technology and Advanced Studies, Chennai. She has more than 20 years teaching experience and research experience is 9 years. Under her research guidance, master degree 52 MCA students, 22 MSc students, 4 MPhil, 8 PhD students. And your research publication for her, international journals 31, international conference 18, national conference 14. And apart from that, she published 2 books. One is a wireless ad hoc networks and programming in C#. And she got more awards. The following are the Teaching and Research Excellent Award in 2018, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award for Young Scientist in 2018, the Best Faculty Award in 2019. Now, the session is handed over to Dr. V. Jayalakshmi Madam. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, all. The goal of this session is divided into 2 parts. First, we'll discuss about how to write a good quality research paper, and secondly, we'll discuss about scientific thesis writing. So, why do we research? What is the need to do research? There may be several reasons for doing research. See, it may be for solving a problem, or some people have the tendency to do research. In order to satisfy their desire, they do research. Or big companies and industries have their own R&D centers to develop and improve their products, so that they do research. Mainly, this kind of research is mainly for getting more profit. Or that it may be part of the job. Faculty like us do research mainly mainly to improve our research knowledge, and also it is also very important in our work, because the faculty assessment is mainly based on the research performance. The other one is to get a PhD degree. Obviously, we all know to get a PhD degree, we have to do research. So the aim of this FDP covers these 2 kinds of research, like faculty, and the other one is young PhD aspirants. So there may be several kinds of academic research works. An academic research may be a totally new innovation or framework, or it may be a modification in the existing analysis approach or the procedure with little deviation from the existing methods, so that it can have a contribution in which the time or cost can be reduced, or it may increase the performance of the existing algorithms. How to proceed? So generally, for the young PhD aspirants, they want to do research, but they don't know how to proceed the work. So for the few slides are for them, so that it will give them a few tips about how to proceed their work. So first, we need to pick up the area of interest. First, the area of interest can be chosen based on our background knowledge or the exposure which we obtain through the subjects we are handling, courses we have taken, or attending the conferences and seminars, etc. After choosing the area, we need to decide on a topic. So before choosing any topic, we need to ask the following questions. What am I most interested in? Do I want to know a little about a lot, or a lot about a little? So these are all the two main questions we need to ask before choosing a topic. Because if you want to know a lot about a little, this will become your topic narrow. Whereas in case of, if you want to know little about a lot, this will make your topic broad. So narrower topics are easier. So it will help you to find the problem easily. Say for example, networking. This is too general. This is an area only. So in that, if you want to do a research, it could be multicasting in networks, or it could be further refined to congestion control for reliable multicast, or further it can be refined into congestion control through admission control. So in case of, if you want to do a research in wireless networks, don't say wireless networks. It is too general, because wireless networks are of two types. One is the wireless with infrastructure, or wireless without infrastructure. Whereas in case of wireless without infrastructure, again there are two categories. One is the ad hoc networks, and the other one is the wireless sensor networks. So it is important to specify which kind of networks you are doing your research. After that, you should again narrow it down further, like systematic testing of wireless MAC layer, efficient handoff for IP mobility, or security by modifying the protocol. So this can be done in either of wireless networks with infrastructure and ad hoc networks, or wireless sensor networks. So in case if you want to do a research in network security, don't simply say that network security. Instead, it should be like security through protocol, or encryption or decryption algorithms, or security through key management, or security through hardware deployment. So after choosing the topic, it is important to compile the set of keywords. Keywords. So after choosing the keywords, you have to search the keywords on the uh, net. Say for example, it may be from the IEEE library or ACM library, or you can even use Google to choose the papers. See, in case if you use Google, you have to be very selective, because all the papers you obtain from the Google are not authenticated and will not give the correct results. So now you have chosen papers. After that, you have to select the papers that you think are most related to what you have in your mind. After that, no need to read all the papers now. So first check the title, abstract, authors, journal, or conference. So after that, again, see, if you find that the selected papers are not enough, then you have to again refine your keywords and perform multiple searches for quality works. In case if you like a specific paper, look at the list of references. So these references will give a good indication to follow. So after that, in case you have collected 50 papers, in that 50 papers, narrow down to 15 to 20 papers which you think are most relevant to your work. Next, start reading. So first, read only the abstract, introduction, conclusion. Okay, so this is enough. No need to read the entire paper. So you can skim the rest of the paper for general idea, and you have to identify the emphasis of each paper. So based on this, out of this 15 to 20 papers, based on your reading and understanding, please pick 4 to 6 papers and read these 4 to 6 papers thoroughly from the beginning to the end. From the abstract to the conclusion, you have to read all these 4 to 6 papers thoroughly. So now you need to analyze the main approaches, methods of analysis, like metrics, evaluation tools, analysis and interpretation of results, simulation or measured data, conclusions. Analyze all these things. So after analyzing all these things, ask some questions on the ideas which you have seen from those selected papers. See, the questions may be like, did all or some papers use similar approaches? Have they used same evaluation criteria, same method of analysis? In case if they are not using the same method of analysis or a different criteria, what are the strengths and weakness of each method? So, and after that, you have to keep a list of ideas you want to explore. So this will create another list of readings. Based on that, again search for the papers and select the ideas. So now keep a list of what do we think the authors might have missed, the gaps and limitations that could be improved upon, any idea of how to accomplish these improvements. Think of this and keep a list of all these things, so that based on that you can have a 2 pages of proposal defining as clearly as possible, including all these titles, like it should contain a motivation, research challenges, overview of the existing work, limitations of the existing work, potential directions and ideas for improvement, expected results and impact in the field. So containing all these sections, you should write a 2 pages proposal. So after writing the 2 pages proposal, so do your research work, and now you can elaborate this work into 8 to 10 pages. Now your research is ready. Now the next step is publishing a paper. For that we need to write a good paper. So before writing a good paper, we need to ask a few questions like, what is new in the work? So this is very important. Whenever we write a paper, something must be new in that. Then next one is, what are you going to write? So this also you should be very clear before writing a paper. So whenever you are writing a paper, emphasize on the originality and significance of the work. Decide the structure of the paper. Stick on the central points throughout the whole paper and remove all unnecessary discussions. So the structure of the computer science paper is not different than the other scientific papers. So it is also like other scientific papers. Computer science structure is also same. It contains like title, abstract, introduction, related work, system, model and problem statement, methods and solutions, simulations and experiments, conclusion, acknowledgement, references. Please try to include all these sections in your paper. So you can omit 1 or 2 sections, like you can combine methods and solutions, simulation and experiments, but you need to have all these sections in your paper. So the structure of the paper should resemble like a hourglass. The paper should start from general and go through particular and then again back to general. So while writing introduction, you should start from general, smoothly go through the particular. When writing the body of the paper, it should be only about the particular, because you are going to describe about your own research work. So that should be particular. Again, while discussion, it should move from particular to general. After that, choose a right title. So the title should be very specific, not too broad. Choosing a right title is very, very important, because it only attracts the readers to read your paper. So the title should be substantially different from others. We should avoid general titles like research on data mining, contributions to information theory, a new framework for distributed computing, or a new framework for cloud computing, a novel structure. Like that of general titles should be avoided. So next step is, after writing the right title, good title, the next step is writing a concise abstract. Abstract is the first part of the manuscript, so it is very important. So the reviewers first read the abstract. Based on the abstract only, your paper will be decided whether to read the paper fully or not. So even some reviewers will simply reject your paper just because of the good abstract. So while writing abstract, we must take good care. So it must be simple and clear, and try to see that all these things like motivation, problem statement, approach, results, conclusion, all these must be in the abstract. Motivation is, why do we care about the problem and the results? This is the motivation. Problem statement, so what problem is the paper trying to solve, and what is the scope of the work. That should be included. Approaches, so what you have done to solve the problem. So what is the result you obtained after solving the problem. Then conclusion is, what implications does the answer imply. A good hint is to pack each of these part like motivation, problem statement, approach, results, conclusions into one sentence. Next, see, while organizing the paper, please remember these things. These are all guidelines. So first, plan sections and subsections. Use a top-down writing method. Use a sentence to represent the points in each subsections. The subsections may contain many paragraphs. So before writing the paragraph, use a sentence to represent the points. See, after that, expand the sentence into a sketch, into a paragraph. Keep a logical flow from section to section, paragraph to paragraph, and sentence to sentence. There must be some linkage between one sentence to another sentence, and also like from one paragraph to another paragraph. So the next part is writing the introduction. So it is mainly it is very important to supply sufficient information in the introduction. So introduction should establish a territory. So in which area you are writing the paper, that should be given in the introduction. So first you have to bring out the importance of the subject, make general statements about the subject, present an overview on current research on the subject. After that, you have to establish a niche. So this is the place where you have to oppose an existing assumption, reveal a research gap, formulate a research question, continue a tradition, or propose a completely new approach. So you may use the tradition approach for solving the problem, or you can completely propose a new approach to solve a problem. That should also be outlined in the introduction. Apart from that, so what occupy the niche. So here you have to specify the intent of the own work, outline important characteristics and results of the work, and also it is very important, the last paragraph of the introduction should be the structure of the paper, that is the organization of the paper. Section 2 gives the brief outline of the related work. Like that you have to give in the last paragraph of the introduction. So next one is the related work and list of references. Use a proper selection of references. Show your knowledge in the related area. You would have referred many papers for choosing this topic. Try to include all those papers in the related work session. Give credit to other researchers. In case if you have referred any papers, then try to give them credits by citing their papers in your work. Cite good quality work. Related work should be organized to serve our topic. Emphasize on the significance and originality of the work. So related work is very, very important. It should be written in a neat way. The next section is the algorithms and implementation, especially in the case of computer science research papers. So in the methods section, we'll be giving the algorithms and implementation. This methodology is divided into two parts. One is the algorithms. So in the algorithm section, we need to summarize the algorithms, highlight features relevant to the research. Then you can even give code snippets, descriptions, or diagrams to describe an algorithm or an optimization we employed in our work. The second part is the implementation. So which tool or language we have used to implement the algorithm, that should be described in the implementation part. The next section is the results and discussion. So here, focus on the analysis of the results and what they reveal about the algorithms. Summarize the results of benchmarking test primarily in figures, and the quality of figures is very, very important. So we need to include only the figures which is of high quality. Make data readable and understandable in tables and graphs using colors, shading, or other means to highlight the points. See, in case if you want to highlight the points, we need to use the colors and shading properly. Use informative captions for the figures, tables, etc. So we need to give figures and tables the captions must be informative. See, it should give an idea about what you are going to present in the tables and figures. explain all the tables, diagrams, and figures in the text. So it is very important, whichever diagrams, tables, and figures you are using in the paper, that must be explained in the text. See, many of us forget to do this. Simply we'll give the tables, diagrams, and figures. We may even give captions for this, but we forget to explain the tables, diagrams, and figures in the text. It is very important to explain them all in the text. Next step is the conclusions. So a research paper should be circular in arguments. The conclusion should return to the opening and examine the original purpose in the light of the research presented. So it should also generalize the findings, perhaps suggesting how others can use them in future research. All generalizations should be supported by the data, and here no new evidence should be introduced in the conclusion. So everything must be, whichever we give in the inclusion must be supported by the data which we use in our work. So next one is the plagiarism. So this is very, very important. After receiving the paper, the editor and reviewer have to detect possible plagiarism in our paper. Only after our paper passes the preliminary screening, it is considered for the true review. So authors who submit papers with high similarity index may be blacklisted and not considered for future publication in the journal. So it is very important to avoid plagiarism in our writing. What is plagiarism? So plagiarism is stealing and passing of an idea or words of another as of his own, or it may be to use another's production without crediting the source, or to present as new and original idea or product derived from an existing ones. So these are all the definitions which are given by Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary. So there are two kinds of plagiarism. One is deliberate plagiarism. The other one is accidental plagiarism. So this deliberate plagiarism is doing it intentionally, doing it knowingly. Doing is called deliberate plagiarism. Steals the property of somebody else and claims it to be his own. Accidental plagiarism is somebody unknowingly cites praise or copies without acknowledging the author of the material is called accidental plagiarism. So this is unintentional, whereas deliberate is knowingly doing, copying others' work is called as deliberate plagiarism. So all these kinds of actions may be seen as plagiarism, like buying, stealing, or borrowing a paper. See, if you buy, steal, or borrow a paper, then that will also come under the act of plagiarism. See, if you hire somebody to write your paper, that is again a plagiarism. Building on someone's ideas without citation, this is again a plagiarism. So you can build on somebody's ideas, but we should give proper citation, we should give proper credit to the authors. So in case if you do like that, it will not come under the act of plagiarism. So using the source too closely when paraphrasing, this is again plagiarism. Copying from another source without citing, so it may be by accident or on purpose, so this is also will come under the act of plagiarism. So how can we detect the plagiarism? In case accidentally we might have plagiarized some work in our paper, so in that case how can we detect such plagiarism in our work? So there may be several tools that are used for detecting the plagiarism. So like the tools may be like Plaghour, PlagScan, Authenticate, plagiarismdetection.org, Turnitin, Gurkund. So these two, Turnitin is the good plagiarism tool. So it gives the similarity index, it detects the similarity index in a good way. So Urkund, many universities are using Urkund to detect the plagiarism while submitting the thesis. So how can we avoid plagiarism? So in case if you want to avoid plagiarism, do not try to rewrite an author's sentence in your own words. See, if you try to rewrite an author's sentence in your own words, almost will end up with too many of that author's words. So don't ever do that. Don't try to rewrite an author's sentence in your own words. That is, it is called rephrasing. Don't do that. Instead, read the author's words and interpret what they mean. Then write down your own interpretation. This way, you can avoid plagiarism. So in case, if you want to use the other researchers' words exactly in our paper, then what can we do? See, in that case, you can use quotations. So that quotations should be short and that should be only few of them. Sometimes we may think the author has said really explains well what you are trying to say. In that case, we may need to use the author's words exactly in our work. In that case, use quotations. These quotations should be short and that should be only few of them. So next one is this. So now we have written a paper without any plagiarism. So the next step is publication. So how can we publish our work? This is what the next few slides will give you some hints about how to do the publication in a good journal. So the first rule of thumb is read good papers and submit your papers to good places. If you read good papers, you'll be able to do good research, ending in good quality papers. So with good quality papers, you can submit your papers to good places. So what is the good place? That is a journal with a high impact factor is considered to be the good place. So publication quality is just one aspect of research quality. The research quality is mainly based on by reading good papers. So don't forget, read good papers so that you will end up with good quality work. So the publication quality depends on the impact factor. The impact factor depends on the number of citations. So citation counts rely on databases such as ISI, CiteSeer, ACM Digital Library, Scopus, and Google Scholar. So where to publish our work? Conference or journal? How to recognize a good journal or conference? See, a good journal or it may be a journal or a conference, it tends to have rigorous review process. So see, in case if you want to publish your paper in a conference, see the acceptance rate of the conference, review process, program committee, who is the publisher of the proceedings, which database is indexed in the indexed. Say, for example, the published proceedings will be indexed in Scopus, EI, or elsewhere. Check that. Acceptance rate for good conference, the acceptance rate may be 10 to 20% or 20 to 30%, not more than that. Review process may be blind review process. And the program committee may include good researchers in the world. The publisher of the proceedings may be, it may be IEEE, Springer, or elsewhere like that. So for in case if you want to rank the journals, we have to look at the JCR factor, impact factor. JCR is journal citation reports and the publishing house, editors, who are all the editors for the journal. The ISR ranking system is based on the JCR impact factor. International Scientific Indexing is ISI. It is mainly based on the JCR impact factor. So when you want to publish a paper in the journal, look for the JCR impact factor. That determines the quality of the journal. So why we need to prepare a journal rather than publishing in conference? See, in case if the paper is a short paper, like a 5 to 6 pages, then we can publish that paper in the conference. So in case if you have written a lengthy paper, then you should publish that paper in a journal. Why should we prefer a journal than a conference? So this is mainly because many universities evaluate faculty on the basis of journal publications. And in many scientific fields, journals have higher standards than conferences. Journals may have longer page limits and journal reviews tend to be more detailed. The review of the journal will be in a detailed way rather than the conference reviews. And also, reviewers can take adequate time to write thorough reviews. Say, for example, the reviewers may take even 3 to 6 months to give the review report. So What are indexed journals? So indexation of a journal is considered a reflection of its quality. So the journal's quality is determined by the indexation, indexed. Okay. So indexed journals are considered to be of higher scientific quality as compared to non-indexed journals. So it is important to know if a journal is indexed before the submission of a manuscript. Before submitting any manuscript, please check whether the journal is indexed in any database like Scopus or Web of Science. So what is Scopus? Scopus is a bibliographic database containing abstracts and citations for academic journal articles. It covers nearly 22,000 titles from over 5,000 publishers, of which 20,000 are peer-reviewed journals. So you can go to this website to go to the Scopus to find the journals in the Scopus database. So in case if you want to search whether a particular journal is available in the Scopus or not, you can go to this website, enter the, you can go to this website and enter the journal name in the search box. The journal name appears in the search results, then we can consider that journal is indexed in the Scopus. Even you can, instead of entering a journal name, we can search for using the specific specialty or ISSN. So this is the sample screen of the scopus.com sources. So here if you search, you see this is subject, you can search either through subject area also. So it will list the number of journals in that particular subject. The next one is the SCI index. SCI index is Clarivate Analytics. Previously it was known as Thomson Reuters. So in case if you want to check whether a particular journal is SCI index, then we need to go to this website, then search the journal by entering ISSN or title. So it will display the details of the journal, like who is the publisher of the journal, its ISSN and EISSN numbers, categories, then Web of Science core collection. Apart from SCI, it may be, if it is even included in the SCIE, then that will also be displayed. So this is how you can do the search in the Web of Science. So here I have searched for the computer networks. It displayed the details like this. What is the difference between Scopus and ISI? ISI is nothing but the SCI, and the SCI core journals will be listed in the ISI. ISI is International Scientific Indexing. What is the difference between these two? Scopus and ISI are two bibliographic databases operated by different companies. These two are not operated by the same companies. Scopus is operated by elsewhere, whereas ISI is operated by Clarivate Analytics. So both of see, you can find many journals in both the database. At most, ISI journals are also Scopus journals, but traditionally ISI has a more elitist approach to include journals. Say we can say that all the journals which are indexed in Scopus will not be in ISI, whereas all the journals which are indexed in ISI will be in Scopus. So because, see, this has ISI has a more elitist approach for including journals when compared to Scopus. The two systems have slightly different criteria and slightly different functionality. So next one, see, in India, especially those who are working in universities and colleges, we need to publish papers in the UGC approved journals. So this UGC CARE list of journals include journals covered in Web of Science, Scopus, journals recommended by the CARE Committee on Notification on Journal and Language Committee. See, CARE is nothing but Consortium for Academic and Research Ethics. This is mainly for creation and maintenance of a reference list of quality journals. That is why it is called as CARE list. Oh, sorry. Next one, in the CARE list, there are 4 groups of journals. Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. In Group A, research journals in disciplines under science, engineering, technology, agriculture and biomedical sciences indexed in Scopus under Web of Sciences. So here there will not be any analysis done to include the journals in this Group A list. And Group B is journals qualified after analysis as per the protocol from the existing UGC list. Group C is the journals from social sciences, humanities, languages, Indian knowledge systems recommended by CAR members, which are qualified as per the protocol. And Group D is the new journals submitted by CAR universities, which are qualified as per the protocol. See, for simplifying the search process, the UGC CAR list is divided into two groups, namely Group 1 and Group 2. And Group 1 journals found qualified through UGC CAR protocols. See, it is having a set of protocols. The journals which qualified these protocols will be included in the Group 1 list. And Group 2 list is nothing but journals indexed in globally recognized databases like Scopus and ISI will be found in the Group 2 list. So this is the UGC journalist website. So here you can see, if you click on this, you can find the journals. So here also you can search the journal through title, ISSN, publisher, subject or language of publication. See, in case here I have searched for the computer science subject, so it gives the search results of 35 journals. So next one, so I told you that the quality of a journal is determined by the impact factor. The impact factor depends on the citation. So what is the difference between citation and reference? See, in case if a paper or contains a bibliographic footnote using the describing paper C, then or contains a reference to C. C has a citation from R. The number of references a paper has is measured by the number of items in its bibliography. The number of citations a paper has is found by looking in a citation index and seeing how many papers others mention it. Say, for example, this is the paper R. This is the paper C. The paper R used paper C to get, see, some ideas have been taken from the paper C. So the paper R should refer this paper C in their paper. So see this. See, this is the reference section. The reference section, paper R included paper C, and it is also cited in the paper. So R contains a reference to C. Now C has a citation from R. So since this C is referred in R, so now C has a citation from R and R referred the paper C. Say, for example, these are all the papers X, Y, R, Q. All these papers have referred the paper C. So the citation count of this paper C is 4. So the impact factors are used to assess the impact of a journal. All journals are created equal. So based on the impact factors only, the impact of the journal is analyzed. How will you calculate the impact factor of a journal? So here is the formula. The number of times articles published in 2 years were cited by indexed journals divided by the total number of citable items in the 2 years. Say, for example, the impact factor of Y is calculated like this. So citations of the previous year and the 2 years back. So, and also the publications. So the impact factor is a measure reflecting the average number of citations to articles published in science and social science journals. Say, for example, this I have given as an illustration for calculating the impact factor. In case, say, for example, take this journal IJAC. Says this is for the calculation purpose I have given like this. So the journal citation reports of 2020 of IJAC is calculated as follows. First, see, in case if you want to calculate JCR for 2020, you need to consider the previous 2 years like 18 and 19. So the number of publications in 18 is 34. So it has published 34 papers in 2018. And number of publications in 2019 is 35 in regular issues and 98 in supplementary issues. Okay, so the total number, I mean the special issues, the total number of articles published in 2018 and 2019 is 34 plus 124. So while calculating the impact factor, we need to use the special issue also. So how many papers they have published in 2018 and 2019? It is totally 158. So after that, we need to see the citation for these papers. So the citation for these papers is, for the papers published in 2018 is 22, and the papers published in 2019 is 37. So totally there are 59 citations. So dividing this, you'll get 0.373. So this is the impact factor of the journal IJAC. This is how the impact factor is being calculated. So where can we find the journal impact factor? So these are all the some websites where you can find the journal impact factor. You can find it in clarivate.com and master journal list. So here you click on journal citation reports, or even you can find it in scopus.com. Sources here. See, when you click this, the first one is the serial number, next one is the title of the journal, and the third one is the site score. The site score gives the impact factor of the particular journal. So now you have chosen a journal to publish your work. What is the next step? That is the review process. After submitting an article to a journal, editors first check for the plagiarism. After, if your paper passed the plagiarism test, then they'll assign the paper to the good reviewers. The quality of a publication is also determined by the quality of the review. So most probably the paper will be rejected or conditionally accepted after a major review. So the review results may be major results in case if your paper is very good, it is very significant. The results significant, so it is very difficult to obtain such review results. The next one is good, solid, interesting work, a definite contribution. So even this kind of obtaining review results is very rare. Next one is minor but positive contribution to knowledge, elegant, technically correct but useless. This category includes sophisticated analysis of flying pigs. Next one, neither elegant nor useful but not actually wrong. In case if you receive a report like this, then it is we can consider rewrite this paper and make it as a good one. Wrong and misleading, so badly written that technical evaluation is impossible. You can get any one of this review as your results. So it is very important to write a good letter to the editor while submitting the paper. Certainly, a nice submission letter is not sufficient condition for accepting the manuscript, but how can one expect a good manuscript from the author who is not able to write a good letter to the editor? So see, these are all some sample letters to the editors with typo errors and language errors. See this. See, this is two papers. Even when you look at these letters, we can say that these letters are with errors. So we need to write a nice submission letter. So this is, see here, and a sample submission letter. I have given a sample submission letter. Try to write a sample submission letter like this. So after revising the manuscript based on the reports obtained from the reviewers, again we need to write a letter to the editors. So in that letter we need to say that we have changed the paper according to the suggestions given by the reviewers. So this way you have to define, like see in section 1 paragraph 5 what changes you have made in that. Like that you need to explain everything while writing the while again submitting the manuscript to the editor after revising the manuscript. So in case if your paper is accepted and published, So now, see, in case for doing the thesis, if 2 journal papers and 2 conference papers published, think of consolidating the work. Left out works, links that may be needed have to be completed. Write the draft thesis and write the synopsis. After writing the synopsis, submit it, wait for 3 months. During that time, we need to write the thesis. So PhD thesis is very, very important. So a PhD thesis in the science is supposed to represent the candidate's original research. Its purpose is to prove that the candidate is capable of doing and communicating the research. So before writing the thesis, so you need to do all these things. Just first prepare a thesis outline. First, break the thesis into chapters, list the major sections in each. Discuss with your supervisor. This is very important. After preparing a thesis outline and deciding the number of chapters, discuss with your supervisor. And after getting approval from the supervisor, prepare a chapter outline, assemble all the data, tables, figures, organize everything into a sensible sequence, then start writing. Do not write everything at the same time. Do a section at a time. Start with something easy so that it will be easy for you to do your work and in an enjoyable way. So again, the thesis title should reflect the content of the thesis. The thesis title should not be something different than the content of the thesis. So you should reflect the content of the thesis. Use concise but informative title. Be specific and accurate. So don't give phrases such as a study of, an investigation of. We should not give such titles for the scientific thesis. It can be given for the humanitarian arts and art subjects, but whereas in case of science, scientific thesis, we should not give study of, an investigation of. Avoid these phrases and avoid jargon and acronym. So we should not use any acronym. Instead, we need to give everything in an expanded way. So in the thesis as a whole, we should write everything thrice. So as a whole, first you have to write the introduction. This should say what the thesis will say. Then details of the work, that is the body. Next one is the conclusion, what the thesis said. So as a whole, it should have all these 3 things. Next, within each chapter or section, write what this section says, then the details, what this section said. Next, within each paragraph describes a single idea. The first sentence introduces the idea, linking it with the previous one. The last sentence concludes the idea, linking it with the next one. But it should not be a repetition. It is linking and rational. Remember, you should not repeat the points. Instead, it should be linking and rational. If you do it right, the reader won't notice any repetition. So here, while writing the thesis, we should do everything as thrice. So the outline of a main body of the thesis is like introduction, literature review, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion and future work, bibliography and references. So in the introduction, it includes the justification for your research, the hypothesis behind the study, and an explicit statement of your objectives. Literature review, a detailed account of scholarly work that has already been done on our chosen topic. Methodology, here in the computer science thesis, we'll give the models and algorithms, an account of the procedures and techniques used in our research. Next one is in the results sections. Normally in the computer science thesis, we'll combine this results and discussion section in a single chapter. So this should include the presentation of the data obtained from the research and an explanation of the significance of the findings and how they relate to the work of other scholars. The last one is the conclusion and future work, which should a review of our findings and their importance, as well as suggestions for further research in our chosen topic will be given in the conclusion and future work. So bibliography section, a full account of all literature used and cited in the thesis. So first one is the introduction. So introduction is very, very important. Introduction arouses the reader's interest and indicates thesis statements. So there is no specified set length for the introduction. It is a general description of the general problem followed by a statement of the specific problem and the motivation for the study. So an introduction should follow this format. Begin the introduction generally and more smoothly to the scientific thesis statement. So it should be like this. So you should start with in a general format, then move smoothly to the specific and to the thesis statement. So what is literature review? The literature review is a systematic method for identifying, evaluating, and interpreting the work produced by researchers, scholars, and practitioners. So here are some tips for writing literature review. First, summarize and synthesize. Give an overview of the main points of each source and combine them into a coherent whole. Then analyze, interpret. Don't just paraphrase other researchers. Instead, we need to add our own interpretations wherever possible. Discuss the significance of findings in relation to the literature as a whole. And we need to evaluate the strengths and weakness of the sources. So we need to write everything in a well-structured paragraphs. So use transitions and topic sentences to draw connections, comparisons, and contrast. The next section is the methodology section. So this is our own section, say, introduction and literature survey. So by referring others, we can do that. But methodology, here we need to give our proposed work. So if you write this section first, it will be easy for us to do the work quickly. So write this section of the thesis first. It is the most straightforward, and doing so should get you off to a good solid start. Provide full details of your methodology. Give information that allows readers to judge whether the experimental methods are suitable. Related methods should be described together. Do not put any results in this section. So you need to explain the algorithm or the methodology or the technique which you used in your work and the implementation tool which you are using to do the research will also be described in the methodology section. Use precise, accurate words and terms to describe the materials and methods. The next section is the results section. So this is the core of our thesis, that is the data. So data must be represented in a neat way. It may be represented in a graph or tables. So tables can be used to display precise numeric values. Where, say, in case if you want to convey trends or proportions, you can use figures. So figures do it in a better way. So the figure legends should provide a detailed description of the corresponding figure. Explain each symbol in the figure, like arrowheads, arrows, asterisks, squares, like that. That should be explained neatly. Then labels also should be very clear. The discussion sections, here you need to communicate the significance of the findings and to describe how these results advance the field of study. So in case if there is any potential practical applications of the work, you can comment on them. Summarize the major findings of the thesis and explain their significance. Summarize the evidence for each conclusion made. So then the last step is the writing conclusion. So how to write a conclusion? So first we need to find the strongest and most important statement that we can make from our observations. So refer back to problem posed and describe the conclusions that you reached from carrying out this investigation. Summarize new observations, new interpretations, and new insights that have resulted from the present work. So next is the future works. So what are the contributions of new knowledge that your thesis makes? Does your work suggest any interesting further avenues? Are there ways in which your work could be improved by future researchers? What are the practical implications of your work? All this can be given in the future works. The last one is the bibliography. So for that, we need to keep a database of complete references. So what I suggest is start creating the database the first day you start your research. So for that, we need to use some database like Mendeley, BibTeX, EndNote, or whatever you find it very comfortable with. Use a database to save the what other workers work. So I mean other researchers work. So we need to use a consistent citation style. In case if you use APA style, use it consistently. Attention to detail is very, very important. So while writing the spelling of the authors or the journal name, don't make any mistakes. Get it right. Keep complete references like page numbers, volume numbers, editor's name, locations, and in case if it is a conference paper, locations and dates of conference, proceedings, etc. Must all these details must be kept. And find out the local rules for citation style. In case, say, some universities may follow a certain citation style for writing the thesis, so you need to find out the local rules. But if there are no local rules, this is the easiest format. Author, year in the brackets format is the easiest one, and this also improves readability by saving the reader flicking to the back. So next one is the list of abbreviations and glossary of terms. So use only standard abbreviations. Do not use abbreviations in the abstract or title. So some people write abbreviations in the abstract and title. Please, you should not use any abbreviations in the abstract or the title. Do not use full stops and abbreviations except after number. See, that is, number can be written in abbreviated way like NO dot. Other than that, we should not use any full stops. And when using an abbreviation for the first time, the full term for which it stands should precede the abbreviation in the text, followed by the abbreviation in parenthesis. Say, for example, so in case if you are writing MANET, then mobile ad hoc networks must be written in the full form in parenthesis. So next one, see, tense in writing. This is very, very important. While writing a paper, we may mix the tenses, especially when writing the thesis. Very important to keep in mind about the tenses. So here are the few tips. While writing the abstract, write everything in past tense because we are referring to our own present results. So in abstract, write everything in past tense. Research methodology and results can also be written in past tense since we describe what we did and what we found. So this can also be written in past tense. Introduction and discussion must be written in present tense because the section often emphasizes the previously established research. So now your thesis, you have written a nice thesis and it is sent for the examiners for evaluation. So here, before sending the thesis, please remove any bugs before the examiner can see it. Okay, so it is very important. So the examiners may read your thesis in trains, planes, or in department meetings because it is just another thesis for them. But for us, it is not like that. So while writing the thesis, we must be very careful without any bugs. So in the examiner's point of view, what they'll think about a thesis. So the examiners have a very little time available. So they want to extract the most juice in the shortest time. So this is the typical scanning order of a new thesis. First, they'll see the abstract. So what is about. Then after seeing the abstract, just looking at the bibliography itself, they say that whether the thesis is a new one or it is already existing one. Next, they'll see about the conclusions. So what was achieved? Do I believe it? Then the contents list. This is also table of contents is very important because they can simply say that whether all the pieces are there and the argument is clear. It can be easily obtained from the contents. So the examiners will decide after looking at all these things that the examiner will decide whether it is worth a PhD or not. So please take care while writing the thesis and get it done. Thank you. And I take this opportunity to thank the respected management members of the SINDHI group, respected principal, Dr. K. Satyanarayana, IQAC coordinator Dr. V. Hemalata, and Professor T. Sujata, Head Department of Computer Science, Professor U. Murugavel, Program Coordinator, and Professor Dr. K. Geeta, Convener for this session, for inviting me as a resource person for the online FDP on the art of writing quality research papers and scientific thesis writing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, now it's a query session.
Okay.
Few questions are there in the chat box.
Once
Thank you
again,
for your yes, ma'am.
how to exit this? How can I exit this?
Um, ma'am, I'll dictate the questions, ma'am.
Once again, I'm coming. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful presentation, ma'am. Now
Thank you.
we will go ahead and take some time for questions now.
Okay.
Uh, First question, is there any difference between research proposal and abstract?
See, a research proposal, we'll write research proposal in detailed way. Whereas in case of abstract, abstract is not an, what is it, a summary of the work. So there is a difference between abstract and the research proposal.
And one more question, is there any limit on the number of objects of a research? Objective
You
of
mean
research?
objectives of the research?
Yes,
No, there
yes,
is no
yes.
limitation. It depends upon your research. See, even you
Okay.
can have a single objective, you can work towards the single objective to obtain your result, or you can have multiple objectives. So it depends on the research which you are carrying out.
Okay, ma'am. And another participant also posted one more question. How to summarize the algorithms?
See, while it is not necessary to give a complete description of the algorithms, see, you can just see, in case if you want to give an algorithm, you can simply describe the algorithm, what you have done for the research, and also for the coding. Some people will try to give the entire coding of the paper. It is not necessary. Just to give the code snippets, that is fine.
Is it mandatory for writing conclusion for every chapters in thesis?
Yes, yes. See, it is a good practice to write introduction and a conclusion for every chapter. It is a good practice. But even see, for the thesis, there is no standard procedure which have been followed in for which have not been followed. Say, for example, in every university, they follow a different, format for writing
Oh,
the thesis. So we cannot
yeah,
say
okay,
that
ma'am.
it is the standard procedure to write the thesis. This is an idea. So everyone has their own.
Okay. How many pages we need to write the abstract?
See, if it is for the thesis, at least it must be 1 to 2 pages. But in case of research papers, it is one paragraph is enough, not exceeding 100 words.
One more question from the participant, ma'am. Suggest a good plagiarism tool for research journal. Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, Geeta.
One more question from the participant side, ma'am.
Yes.
Suggest good plagiarism tool for research journal.
Turnitin, I'll suggest one. Turnitin, because Turnitin find the similarity index in a good way. So Turnitin
Okay.
is the best plagiarism tool.
Okay. Ma'am, is there any issues using online plagiarism for the thesis?
You mean for checking the thesis,
Yes.
can we use online plagiarism tool? So I don't suggest that, because if you try to use online plagiarism tool, see, your paper or the thesis will be stored in the database. That will again create a problem for you while checking for the plagiarism.
Okay, ma'am. Uh, we covered, I think we have covered all of our questions, ma'am. Thank you
Okay.
for your wonderful explanation about all the queries. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. And today I would like to take an opportunity to express my gratitude of this FDP session. And we are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence, ma'am. Now the session handed over to Mr. U. Murugavel, sir, Assistant Professor, as well as Program Coordinator, to deliver vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all. On behalf of Computer Science Department, SINDHI College, and as a program coordinator, it's my privilege to propose vote of thanks. First and foremost, I thank the resource person Dr. V. Vijayalakshmi Madam, Professor, Computer Science Department, Wales Institute of Science, Technology and Advanced Studies, Chennai, for being with us and delivered an excellent and informative session about revealing various tips and techniques for publishing quality research articles. Really, it was a wonderful session, madam. Thank you very much, resource person, madam. Thank you, madam. I would like to thank our management for supporting, and I would like to thank our principal sir, Dr. K. Satyanarayana, for guidance and his support. I would like to thank Dr. T. I would like to thank our HOD T. Sujata madam and my colleagues. Last but not least, I would like to thank all the participants from various colleges, research fellows, and all over the India on the topic, the art of quality writing, research papers, and scientific thesis writing. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again, ma'am.
Okay. Shall I close?